We kick off this morning taking a look at South Africa, and we're looking at obviously we've got problems with regard to energy, with regard to power, and this comes against the background of the announcement or a statement made by the Minister of Electricity yesterday or on Tuesday, that nuclear energy was the cheapest, safest, and most reliable energy. And this is why we are talking this morning with nuclear specialist Princess Mthombeni. Princess, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you and to your viewers.
Yes, Princess, just very quickly, what do you make of our Minister of Electricity's statement with regard to nuclear energy being the cheapest, safest, and most reliable energy?
It is correct. That's what we believe nuclear to be, or that's what we know nuclear to be, at least according to ESCOM's financial. And when you look into what ESCOM financials say as far as the nuclear costs are concerned, Kuberg Nuclear Power Plant in Cape Town offers ESCOM the cheapest electricity per kilowatt hour amongst all other ESCOM fleets, including coal. It's even cheaper than coal. And nuclear, yes, with regards to nuclear being clean, nuclear is clean technology, and we will now know that it was big part and part of the discussions at the COP28, and COP is the climate change conference, and where 22 nations announced the pledge, or they signed the pledge to triple nuclear energy capacity in the world by 2050. So yes, nuclear forms part of all other clean and reliable technologies. And also, if you have a look at what is happening globally, there's a nuclear renaissance. There are about 440 nuclear reactors, power reactors that are operating, but also there are about 60 that are under construction. Many countries are building nuclear power plants because every country that has plans to decarbonize their electricity, they are either relying on nuclear or hydro or a combination of both.
Yes. Now, obviously, there's absolutely no doubt from a cheap, from a clean energy perspective, but also in terms of looking at nuclear energy generation. I know the minister spoke about procuring 2,500 megawatts of new nuclear energy, and just looking at the building of power stations. Now, obviously, that is. It may be one of the cheapest forms of energy to run, but building a nuclear power station, obviously a different story altogether. It is pretty high.
Um, when we talk about the capital cost of nuclear power plants, we forget, oftentimes we forget or we maybe used a wrong comparison, because when you look at the nuclear power plant, what is going to offer, especially in terms of the cheapest operational cost for the next coming 60 to 80 years, we compare it with plants such as maybe a solar plant that will exist for 20 years, and after then you need to build a new one. Whereas with nuclear, it's not the case. But taking from what was announced during the minister's briefing on Tuesday, the power reactor specialist, Dr. Naftali Mukhalapa, who was part of the media briefing, actually stipulated the cost or the capital overnight capital cost to range between 2,100 per kilowatt hour to 7,100 per kilowatt hour. But let's take an existing example. Obviously, the capital cost, they differ per project and or even per country because there are a lot of factors that need to be considered. But what is currently happening in Egypt, where they are building a 4,800 megawatt nuclear power plant, the the overall cost of the plant is around 30 billion rand, I think, or 30, yeah, it's around 30 billion rand, and the vendor will finance 85% of that 30 billion rand, and the Egypt government will have to find through obviously private companies that 5%. So the cost of the capital cost or the cost of building a nuclear power plant, they differ. But what is more positive is that a lot of vendor or the technology developers or countries, they are willing to finance a big part of the capital cost.
Yes, but also I think looking at our own experience, and we're speaking about Coburg in particular. Now we know, obviously, we have the cost of construction, the capital cost that you speak about, but also in terms of the running cost, engineering, just the day-to-day running costs. And I know in recent times we have picked up a fair amount of problems with regard to Coburg, and this is possibly also one of the reasons as to why we have this power problem as well. And just in terms of the capacity, our capacity to actually run these nuclear power plants, Princess.
I always say to African nations, if there's one country they need to benchmark with when it comes to safely operating a nuclear plant or power plant, it's South Africa. They don't need to go to anywhere else, Japan or any. They need to come to South Africa because we have operated Uber for almost 40 years, safely so. There aren't any problems with Uber. What has happened at Uber is that they were changing steam generators. They were refueling, maintaining the plant, and part of those activities they include the replacement of steam generators, which has never been done before. It's a huge project, and obviously such huge projects which are done for the very first time, delays are expected. But when it comes to constructing nuclear power plant or having enough skills in this country, we have a lot of skills in South Africa, capable skills, nuclear engineers and scientists who are also spread in some other countries. I can tell you that in the United Arab Emirates, they are building a nuclear power. They are almost completing building their nuclear power plant, and 150 of those people who are part of that project are South Africans. So we have enough skills to build in or to continue building more nuclear power plants in South Africa. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with Uber. We had to shut down Unit 1 so that we changed the steam generators as part of the long-term operational plan. Remember, Uber was initially given a 40-year license to operate, which is now coming to an end. So in order for Eskom to prove that Uber can continue to operate for another 20 years, they need to do all these activities, including changing steam generators. And they have done that, and we hope that the plant will pass the regulatory requirements and safety requirements so that they get another license to operate.
Princess, I'd like to just you to just hang on for a while. I just want to pay one or two adverts. We need to pay some bills. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Day by day. This is Salam Media.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers. where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
The Ahmad School of Excellence in Lebanon provides world-class education to Syrian and Palestinian refugees and Lebanese children with a library, coding, robotics lab, special needs classroom, and more. Amman is the foundation from which a generation of underprivileged children can fight poverty and reclaim their freedom. Donate towards a child's education because every child deserves the chance of a better future. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
We continue with our broadcast this morning with nuclear specialist Princess Mthombeni, and this comes against the announcement that was made by the Minister of Electricity talking about nuclear energy, and also announcing that the government would procure 2,500 megawatts of new nuclear energy. And we're trying to obviously understand and also unpack what some of the issues are, and looking at South Africa and how nuclear energy would go in addressing the problems that we are faced with, considering that there are a number of issues that are playing out. There's a whole issue surrounding the environment, COP28. We've spoken about fossil fuels. We speak about dirty energy. Then there is obviously all the exploration with regard to solar power, wind, concentrated solar power, all of this. And we know with the open cycle gas turbines using diesel as well, and the problems that this has actually caused for us as a country in terms of power generation. And Princess, just to continue, now we know at this point in time, this is an announcement that has been made. The government still has to make a lot of decisions in terms of the type of reactor to build, and also in terms of looking, looking at tender processes. All of this needs still to be talked about, and this is not just a short-term project. This is long-term, because we are led to believe that nuclear power stations take a long time to build.
Yes, Inet, nuclear projects are very huge and they quite take a long time. So, but when we look at all the power stations that we are benefiting from today, be it coal or even Kruger nuclear power plant, they were not built overnight. So they took time, because that's how you plan for energy. You have to plan for even the future generations and not just for now. It's impossible to plan for now. But having said that, earlier on I mentioned that we do have enough skills in South Africa. If you have a look at the United Arab Emirates plant that is almost complete being constructed, they switched on the first nuclear reactor within the space of less than 7 years. And I think that's a good lesson, because it depends also on the constructor, where the technology vendor. So we can remember that, or we just so that people understand, there are projects that take longer, like the current one at the United Kingdom, the Hinkley Point C. which is being built by EDF, the French, and also the United States projects have taken longer. But another example is that ours, when it was built, we switched on the first unit within the space of 8 years, and also we're hoping that the Egypt plant that is being constructed also will be completed on time. So it really, the cases differ, and also the projects differ.
Well, certainly, but also I think, looking at some of the problems, and we have a history of some of these things, like, cost overruns. We know what has happened with some of the other power stations. In fact, the time it's taken, and looking at the huge costs in terms of what was originally planned for as well. We even know with regard to the Jacob Zuma era, and under his administration, the nuclear plant that was stopped, and this was stopped by the court because the procurement and the procedural issues that had evolved as well. And I'm hoping, Princess, that we've learned lessons from some of these bad experiences we've had.
Um, you know what? I think when we talk about nuclear, we need to treat projects differently. Nuclear is not coal. With nuclear, you don't find a middleman. There's no middleman altogether. And with nuclear, it is highly regulated. People have to follow the International Atomic Energy Agency's milestone approach. So it's very the corruption possibility in the nuclear project is very minimal. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's very minimal because there is no middleman. And with regards to the court case in 2017, a lot of people think that nuclear was stopped because, number one, it was going to cost 1 trillion, which is just a misconception, and also because there was some, sort of corruption, which is actually not the case. The cost of a nuclear, which was 9,600 megawatt capacity, it was the expert said it was actually significantly lower, but the contractors or the contract negotiations for price localizations and other considerations had not been taken or had not been entered into. So the myth about 1 trillion is not true, because the expert said it was around 60 billion rand. And remember, we are talking about a 9,600 megawatt plant here, almost 10 stages of load shedding. And also, the court, what the court ruled was that the government had not complied with the procurement process. When it comes to when they signed the intergovernmental agreements with Russia, United States, as well as South Korea. So it was not a Russian deal, as many believe. So yeah, no, I think that we need to be clear in terms of what the court ruling was about. It was not against nuclear. The court was not against nuclear, nor the cost of nuclear.
Well, Princess, you're the nuclear specialist, so I'll take your word for it. But for now, thank you very much for your time, and we do appreciate you taking time out this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Princess Mthombeni with us this morning, nuclear specialist, and with that, we're going to go for a break. We'll be back.